Badman, LB, Rupert, Albert, and the Bishop Paul Brown. Badman for the 2020-2021. And you know what it is. You know Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego too. This is Paul and Rupert.
We're back!
Coming out with a brand new thought, covered under the blood in which we were born. So we know how to get to.
Is for bold, A is for active, D is for determined. When you consider King David's valiant, you have an idea and understanding of where we're taking this. Stay tuned.
Hallelujah, revive us again.
We are excited to bring fresh commentary, good conversation with two bad men. Boy, you don't want to miss this. Bad Man for Christ. Join us.
Stands for determined, just like Peter when he did his first sermon. As the saying goes, bad men for Christ. That is how we'll be for the rest of our life. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our show because we're stuck in the house with nowhere to go.
Welcome, everybody.
Woo, we're back.
Oh my goodness! Don't. Let me take a closer look. Am I seeing things?
Oh wait.
Is it a Cowboys? Oh my!
I'm in my basement. It's a little chilly down here. You know, it's a cold night, so I have to get a warm blanket on. I have to get a warm blanket on. That's
Oh, you doing, overseer? I see you're excited about those Cowboys, huh?
Oh man, I'm doing good, Bishop. I'm so excited that they came back strong yesterday against Atlanta. I'm excited. But how are you doing, man?
I'm good. How was last week's show? I missed last week. I know my good brother, Elder Broders, did a tremendous job.
He did. It was a great show. We had a great time. We had the two young men coming on to talk about Youth Congress that went off this weekend, and the airing of it is going to be this coming weekend.
Right.
So be excited. So if you weren't able to go to the Youth Congress, you can see it this weekend, and it's going to be and the production is going to be so great. It's going to be like you were there. That's what I heard. It's like you were sitting in the seat at convocation.
Wow.
That's what it's going to be.
Wow.
So we're excited.
Fantastic.
We're excited.
Fantastic.
I heard you went to it though.
Oh yes, I was there on Friday night. It was good.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
and your friend Bishop Santimore Grubb really threw down.
Oh, did he?
You should give him a call. Yes.
He's trying to be young. He's trying
and of course, you know I had to be there now because my daughter was a lecturer and came through mighty.
All right. I did not know. Okay, go ahead.
And of course I had a pleasant surprise. Who came by to greet me? But my little niece, Sophia Johnson.
yeah, she told me she was all happy. She was like, Uncle Paul gave me $20. He said, people. And she was all happy. I was like, he did what? What? He never gave me no $20, but all right, but she was happy. So
that was my support for all the youth. All the youth that went, I gave them $20 for food.
That's what I heard. That's awesome. So she was very happy. Of course, her aunt who brought her there was like, I went, but I didn't get $20. I don't know if there was an age limit.
well, I was more or less focusing on the young people, you know.
Okay.
All right, overseer. So what are we doing tonight? I mean, I know we got an exciting show. So talk to again, audience. I'm glad to be back. I know you all miss me. I know you all miss me. Here am I again.
All the fan mail that came storming in. You know, tell Bishop we missed him and we love him. We can't wait to see him. Oh yeah, all that fan mail.
I appreciate it. And I receive and accept all those accolades.
Great. Well, today's going to be an exciting show. We don't have a special guest today. It's me and you. And the subject matter is something we're going to talk about. I think we're going to get some good questions from this and some good response. But we're going to talk about pastoral counseling.
Woo.
Pastoral counseling. And I'm going to tell you that I'm talking for Rupert Johnson. I'm not talking about all pastors, but I know many pastors might feel the way I feel. But I know for me that I know that there are some things that I, Rupert Johnson, am not skilled enough to do and counsel. But unfortunately, that is one of the aspects or what people look at. The Bible doesn't say it. The Bible does not say it. The Bible calls God a wonderful counselor. It doesn't call the pastors a wonderful counselor. But we are seen as spiritual counselors. And oftentimes people bring their issues to us. And to be 100% honest, there's sometimes that the pastor is not skilled or educated to really lead people to the subject or the answers. I don't know what you feel. I'm just letting you know.
To be honest, Overseer, you're just too nice. Most of the time. Most of the time. Pastors are not skilled. That's why if you just to broaden the conversation, the larger churches, quote unquote, churches with paid staff usually have paid lay counselors on staff. No, that is along with the pastor being on staff and the assistant and the youth and the praise and worship. They usually have paid lay counselors. There is a reason for that. Now, you and I know that within our circle of church influence, most of the churches that we tend to associate with, we do not see any lay paid counselors on staff.
Especially when you say paid.
So here's the problem. It's not that you and I as pastors do not have knowledge and wisdom in how to help individuals through certain issues that they may have. The problem is because we're not trained, we do not have the structure and the skills in order to execute the process, quote unquote, successfully.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing that you're talking about, because like you said, it's not that we don't have knowledge. We understand sometimes what the issue is. It's how do we get the folks that we're counseling to understand what the issue is and how they can fix it. And like you said, there's a structure that sometimes you should go through. So is the question, should pastors go and get that intellectual capital in how to counsel or how to do Christian counseling? Should we get that? I think yes. And the problem is that you have married couples, and let's single this out to married couples. Yes, please, if you are watching us again, welcome to Bad for Christ. We're just coming in. Facebook, YouTube, like and subscribe for us. We really appreciate it. But if you have a married couple sitting in front of you and they have issues, right? And we ourselves are here to help them solve those issues and get back into a strong marriage. Well, shouldn't we have some skill in how to get them to communicate in the right way, to be able to deliver what they need to say to each other in a well-balanced way where they move forward in the right way? Or when there is little storms that pop up, how do we navigate that storm to bring them back to where they're supposed to be? A lot of us pastors, we don't have the faintest idea how to do some of this stuff.
All right, let me jump on that before we take a question, Overseer. So here it is that I have been pastoring for more than 20 years. And it so happened that this semester, I am taking pastoral counseling at Rockbridge Theological Seminary. Overseer, it was introduced to a structure. The course is named about structured pastoral counseling. It defined 3 stages, overseer: an encounter stage, an engagement stage, and a disengagement stage. Within that, it's telling me that you have to set boundaries. How many sessions you're going to have, recommended 5, and how long each session should be, recommended no more than an hour. Overseer, failed. I don't know if you failed completely.
Yeah. Yeah, Bishop, but I don't know how you feel. You know how I feel? I say, yeah, we're going to have 3 sessions and they're going to only be an hour. The first session we have goes about 2.5 hours. And then I don't know if I get to a second one because I'm too tired. I don't want to go through all that stuff again. Like, oh, that was a tough one. And then I'm sure there's a time period between each session you should have.
Yes. Yes.
With us, it's like, okay, I'm free next Thursday, and then a month from now I'm free again, and there's all that stuff. And normally, what happens is you have to review, and the things that you went in the last session, because you took so long, you got to rehash that up again. That wastes time, and then you go back to getting to something new. And so we don't do that. We don't have the right mindset.
The structure requires within an hour. Overseer, within 5 to 10 minutes of that hour, you need to be wrapping up, making, summarizing, and now begins to provide, to give assignments for the next session. The next session ought to be scheduled within a certain time limit where the counselee has enough time to go and do whatever the assignment is and to be ready for the next session. Structure. Again, overseer, failed.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I do have a professional psychologist at our church, and I let those that come to me, I say, look, man, this is too heavy for me. I'm going to pass you on to the next page. But like you said, I don't pay them. So I can't just impose my time and put people on them. I have to work with them. And so I try my very best. But I have a couple different people who have had, I have 3 doctors. One's a psychologist, 2 are theological doctors who took interpersonal counseling skills. So I can use them. I often use them when I do my counseling sessions, because now we kind of, we have to have somebody with us. We just don't counsel by ourselves. We have to make sure we have somebody with us. So oftentimes I use them to be there to give me the expertise on counseling.
But obviously, it's not that you don't have them, because we also have a professional counselor that went to not only graduate from from college, but also as a master's within the stuff. Is how when we receive the counseling, structure the stuff in order to make sure we pass them on successfully. It's not that we may not have the tool set, is that we as pastors sometimes does not have the structure in place in order to make it up. And of course, when it becomes too technical, we need to also have expert on the outside that we have searched out, vetted, so that we can hand off our people to those individuals when it's a non-technical, non-spiritual issue. So it's more than just, oh, come on and sit, meet with the pastor. We will talk through this, and we have missed the boat in a certain sense. Now I am a little bit more attuned to it, so I'm making the appropriate adjustment. Anyway, we got a question over here.
Yes. Okay, from our good friend Ken Walsh. God bless you, sir. For counseling of different topics, can you have a counseling staff who is trained to refer them to a Christian counseling service? I kind of guess you kind of were answering that question, so why don't you kind of go ahead and finish up?
So what the ideal situation ought to be, we each church should more or less have a paid lay counselor. That paid lay counselor would take on the majority of the workload. If there's something that's kind of heavy that comes up, that individual should bring in the pastor. But in addition to that, the church should have vetted counseling professionals, those who are skilled in that area, that we can refer them to. Now we're going to refer non-spiritual stuff, because the spiritual area really needs to be able to stay within the church. Or you can refer them to a spiritual counselor. So you gotta differentiate between which ones are spiritual references that you need to send someone, and the ones that are non-spiritual. So, to answer his question, yes, there should be a process in place for each church to take care of these things.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point before the question even came in, and you did it again. Spiritual, and then there is really non-spiritual issues. I think that a lot of times we as pastors, everything's a spiritual issue.
There you go. If you got an hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Like a nail. Yes, it's something that I think that for many of us, we've grown up with that something happens is spiritual. But now here's this world called mental illness that people are talking about. And these mental illness is not a spiritual thing, it's a chemical thing. And now you've got to deal with that. And in church, you have to be, as a pastor, equipped and well enough to understand the difference between a spiritual attack and a true mental or physical attack that needs different kind of help. Because if somebody is schizophrenic, yeah, you can pray, but it's more than that. If somebody has a mental health issue where certain things get them very nervous or get them agitated or whatever it may be, that's a total different thing. And everything that there is out there isn't a spirit per se. Sometimes it's the natural flesh. And I think that that's one of the reasons why Jesus told the disciples, some of these take more than just prayer. It takes prayer and fasting, because the spiritual stuff takes prayer and fasting. But then there's stuff that we just have to counsel, have to work with, and you have to know that.
Overseer, here's another thing. We went through a pandemic.
Yeah.
Over a year.
Yeah. Almost.
Many issues have actually occurred. And we are so quick to come on back into the sanctuary. Come in, let's praise the Lord. Do you know how many people we have actually called to come into the sanctuary came into the sanctuary with all kinds of challenges, issues that has occurred to them, loss of job, loss of loved ones as a result of the coronavirus? There's multiple. But we have been so cued in to get the worship service going on, to get the actual church as we know it going, that sometimes we forgot about the people.
Yeah. The scary part is that the people sometimes, because for instance, I'm the guy who says, if you need something, come and let's talk. But they're afraid to come and talk. Because sometimes when you go for help or you ask for help, instead of getting, help, you get ridiculed, or you get, just go and pray about it. I need more than prayer. I've been praying about it. I need more of that. If that's your counseling help, why am I coming to you? And no, go ahead.
No, I was also saying, let's look at it from the counseling, from the laity point of view. With counseling, there's a stigmatism. Crazy.
Yeah.
Are you? No. Because you come and seek help, you're perceived to be weak.
Yeah.
So you have that dynamics, and now you're talking about in a church setting where we don't have lay counselors and staff. So anybody who said I need counseling, everybody's saying, what's wrong with that person?
and I think we talked about it in the pre, right? The worst thing you can do is I'm sorry, folks, but is to take your private stuff and bring it to a non-official pastor or the counseling group in the church, because most of the time they're going through their own struggles, and what they're going through is going to flow into how they give you information, and it can really mess you up. But it's our job as leadership is to learn how to, and again, I say it's our responsibility. I can't say we all do it. Not put our personal lives into our spiritual guidance. Pastors, if you're having a bad day at home, not every day is it beautiful at home. We know that, pastors. Don't bring it when you're counseling. You can't do that. You have to kind of leave it at home and bring in what you know you're supposed to do. So if your wife didn't make you dinner that day and you were mad, and then you hear that man's wife didn't make him dinner, you can't go saying, you should have made him dinner. you can't go that route.
Well, one of the skill set in effective counseling is not to provide solutions or premature solutions. Overseer, we have another question, so let's bring it in.
And folks, send your questions, and there's a lot of questions that we want to hear. This is from Sean Gore. I think Sean has been married for quite some time now. Let's see what he says. As a leader, how do you determine if it is a spiritual issue versus a mental health issue? That's a great question, Sean. And you know what? That's my problem. that is my problem as a pastor, is I don't do that. I say every problem is a spiritual problem, and let's sit down and let's discuss this right now. That's my problem. So I don't know, Bishop, you answer this question, because that's where my problem lies.
So in structured pastoral counseling, I remember, Overseer, I'm only week 4 of the class. In fact, I'm just ending week 3, going into week 4. But in structured pastoral counseling, the first stage, which is the encounter stage, that stage is where you meet with the counselee, you allow the counselee to talk. You give probing questions, provide no solutions, and throughout that process, you will be able to discern. Because remember, we, as you and I, as pastors, it's not just our knowledge, but the fact that we are Holy Spirit led. We depend upon the Holy Spirit to help us in discerning and deciphering what the situation be. So as the individual communicates, remember, it's that discovery stage, you will be able to identify, yes, this individual, this is a spiritual issue, because they may be having the anger with God or upset with God or some situation, as opposed you can identify whether it's a mental issue as having to do with certain situation of their childhood or so forth.
Right, and thank you very much. It's that probing questions in which I think we as leaders have to learn how to do it. Because like I was telling you, I think my biggest problem is I talk about solutions right off the bat, and I shouldn't. I should be delving into, let you talk and maybe even discover yourself what the issue is. Give those probing questions.
Yes.
So you're saying you're mad. What are you mad at?
Mad about. Right. Tell me about this. Right.
Right. What makes you angry? What about him that makes you sad? What about her that gets you agitated? Those type of things are the questions that we should ask, and not try to give, like you said, solutions and advice. Because the problem that I see there is that then people get locked into, oh, this is how we do it, and when it doesn't work, it didn't. We tried that, Pastor, it didn't work. Oh boy, here we go.
Yes. Again, we want to say again, please send us your questions. We know there are quite a number of questions because we're talking about not we're talking in general, but we know that married folks has issues. Single folks has issues. I mean, you got children. I mean, we can just the list is can go on and on. So we know that there are questions out there.
Yeah, and there's a ton of reasons why you go to a pastor for counseling. So there should be a million questions out there, but we have another one. Do pastors ever need counseling? No,
Of course.
No, we're awesome.
We're just human like you, Ken.
No, I'm Superman. Come on, man. We need counseling more. Okay, so let's get real for a second, Bishop. Pastors don't talk to each other about real issues. They hide them.
Amen. Come on, pastors.
Pastors, you don't got to
talk. Amen.
You hide them. You will hide. You will be going through stuff and won't talk to nobody. Not even a fellow pastor. A fellow pastor. The best one I love the most is, no, I didn't know you were sick. I don't want to tell you. I know you got your own issues. What? You don't want to tell me you were sick. What do you mean? You find out that your good buddy who's a pastor is going through marital issues because they're about to get divorced. For real? That's when. Overseer.
Men in general. You know that when we men get to a certain age, over 50, 55, 60, if you're a man, hello, it's called prostate.
Oh.
So you hear 2 pastors is in the hospital. What did you know? Oh, they had prostate surgery. Really?
What?
Never. Yeah. Really? You're a man. It's going to happen to you sometime.
And you don't say nothing. Nothing. But you'll be the first one to give guidance. You know, if you're going through something, you ought to have us pray with you. And, but when it comes to you, I'm going to keep it private because I don't want to. Me and my family are going to pray about this. Now, if I'm stepping on any toes, I'm sorry. Don't come at me. But I'm just letting you all know. Yes, pastors do need counseling. We probably need it more than we like to admit, because as a pastor, you have burnout. That should be counseled. If you're a married pastor, you have marital things that you have to work out with your spouse because you are giving up spouse time to God, which it sounds good, but when you're going through it, for the spouse, it's not so easy to heal. You also got issues sometimes with your children. How many pastors have lost their children to the world because they were pastors more than they were daddy? And sometimes you should bring your kids with you to a session so you can talk it out, because you don't talk it out at home, right? So there is a lot of reasons why, and that's only a few, and there's a lot more reasons why pastors women pastors need extra counseling, because their peers who happen to be men don't view them as equals. Did I say something? Oh my goodness. I just said that. Did I just say that? Did I just say that their peers?
Yes, you did. I heard you loud and clear.
Oh my goodness. So we have another question. So Ken's coming up. Oh man, Ken's coming at us. So does the organization have counselors for the shepherds?
It's called paid. So the question is, are the parishioners? Yeah, right. Yeah, big organization, they do. Yeah, other organization, we're waiting for the membership to provide the funding so that we can get the paid counselors on staff. So in the meantime, you got to do the best that we have, really.
And another thing is that those big organizations, normally they're coming in and they're reacting. It's not proactive, it's reactive, right? Because like we said, pastors don't talk. So by the time it's about counseling, it is now in a big issue, or it was just caught up. They were caught, right? They were caught drinking. They were caught hitting their wife. They were caught. If they're not caught, they may not go to counseling because they're not volunteering that. So oh, probably mouse out. So yeah, so that's an issue. I feel.
So overseer, so I just say, let's get real. So there's a questions about therapy, and why aren't African Americans, predominantly African American churches, why aren't we open to therapy? So when I turned 45 years old, I looked around and I noticed that a lot of my classmates from my high school and some of my college friends, they were getting divorced. They were just dropping off like, boom, 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 boom. So I said, whoa. So I looked at my life and I said, my parents are divorced. And I said, I'm looking at those guys and I said, they came from good two parent household. Mommy, daddy, never been divorced, lived together, living married happily as I saw it. So I said to myself, overseer, if that's happening to them, I am more prone for that to happen to me. So I went, conversed with Mrs. Brown, and went and sought out a therapist. Went to a therapist in Brookdale, enlisted, and went through about 10 sessions. He actually did those 3 stages, overseer, and I didn't even notice them. Now, what that did for me was equip me, gave me understanding about who I am, gave me the comfort level that even though my parents are divorced, that I don't have to go down that path. Gives me the confidence that if I follow a certain pathway, it will be fine. So that broke the mold. So when I talk to African American pastors, men, I tell them, hey, you afraid of going to counseling? I went to a therapist. That's benefited me tremendously. You ought to try it yourself.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. But if we're afraid to get vaccinated, we're afraid to go to our doctors, we're afraid to let the government do certain things, we're going to be afraid of therapy. As just African Americans, we've been indoctrinated with this mind of fearing things that can help us a lot because it gives you power. And if you go to a therapist, you get, as you did, you were able to get power over your situation. And we were taught not to have power, in my estimation. So you kind of fear those things because you always hear the bad messages that come from these things. When you should be able to say, no, we're going to address some things to give you power. But I think that's where the issue really comes from. So Black churches are the same way. Now, I've never gone to a counselor per se, but I have a lot of friends who were in that profession. And as you know, I'm not afraid to talk about my issues. So I talk about them, and I've gotten good information because I'm not afraid to talk about it. If I have an issue, I'm not have a problem saying, yo, man, I got this issue. What do you think? And, people talk. And when you hear people talk about their different situations, it also helps you to devise a plan for you, because at the end of the day, that's what a counselor wants to do. Help you to devise a plan to overcome whatever you're dealing with. They're not there to tell you what to do. They're up there to help you devise a plan.
Right.
And make it your own and help you stick to it.
You have another question, overseer?
Yes, it says, thank you, Bishop and Overseer. Why does non-spiritual issues seem to be dealt with using only prayer? That's all we know. It's like Jamaicans and tea.
I believe, overseer, the presider at the last convocation said you just put some prayer on it, round it up, slap a prayer on it. You remember that statement and send them away. Doesn't work. Does not work.
Well, I'm not going to say it doesn't work, but it's not the most conventional, right? It's like what we say in Jamaica. Like I said, right? In Jamaica, a good ginger tea can cure everything. Have some tea. Have some ginger tea. You're sick. You have a cold. Have some tea. You got allergies. Have some tea. You got a stomach ache. Have some tea. You have a headache. We do the same thing. You got an issue. Have some prayer. You got financial issues. Have some prayer. You got marital issues. Have some prayer. Oh, your kids' issues. Have some prayer. Yes, prayer works. I'm not downplaying prayer, please. No, I believe in the word of prayer. The Bible says the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. But the issue is are you praying amiss? Because the Bible talks about praying and praying amiss. You
Overseer.
might be missing your point.
Overseer, that James says if there's any if anybody's sorrow, call for some music. You think I'm saying? And then he says if there is any sick, call for the elders of the church, and then prayed because of prayer for right. I think he was talking about praying for the sick now. If you got a financial issue, you definitely can have some prayer, but you need to get some knowledge of how to put a budget together.
Yeah. If you can't save money, no prayer is going to help you save money. You're going to keep not saving money. It's just okay. So yeah, so prayer works, but God has given us enough intellect to know that Solomon did not pray when he gave his wise counsel. He gave his wise counsel through intelligence and through the gift of wisdom. That wasn't prayer, that was wisdom. So when the two mothers came with the baby, he didn't say, go and pray about it. He gave them wisdom. All right. All right. So Mark Bose, the mindset needs to change. Would you agree? I think Mark is talking about the black church and black men in the church when it comes to therapy and other things. Yeah, I would say the mindset has to change, Mark. I'm a big advocate of mindset change with black men, especially black men in the church. I believe the mindset has to go through some real serious change, but it's difficult because men don't want to seem weak. That's me. I don't, Bishop. You go ahead.
Obviously I agree with you, but I also wanted to say though, young people today don't think they need any counseling. They think that it's that they have Facebook, Instagram, social media.
They have each other,
and they got thousands of Facebook friends or whichever the new thing now. They have Meta friends or whatever it is, and so they're okay. I got news for them.
Yeah, I think young people have each other. They look at each other. And I shouldn't say that. Let me be careful because I don't know a ton of young people. I know a few. And the few that I know, I think they depend more upon each other than counsel from the elders. I'm not sure why that is, but I think that they trust each other more than they trust the elders or the counselors that they could go to, because they feel that we don't understand. We, being my age, doesn't understand them. And it could be true, but maybe you don't understand me and how I'm dealing with the situation. So I might be of good help to you, because the mindset of our youth is really different from where I might have been or you might have been back when we were that age. And it's not this. They're energized there, and they're more involved in social issues. But I wonder if they're using their spiritual background also to look into those spiritual issues, because God was a social service guru. Or Jesus was a social service guru. That's what he did. He came and he provided social services, but he used his spiritual background to help guide them to the social service they need.
The bottom line, overseers, I know we're close to time, but the bottom line really is there's a discipline for counseling. And if you want to be better, now, if you want to be a good engineer, you go to an engineering school. If you want to be a good business associate, you go to a business school and study under the disciplines of the great minds. And so when it comes to dealing with how we deal with problems that that challenge us, because all of us in certain ways are impacted by different things. It's not and different things have us to respond differently because we're all unique.
Yes.
But there's a discipline and a benefit to have an excellent counselor guide you through a structured way of even looking at your problems, even to see it a different way, even to see it a new way, so you can apply time-tested techniques in order to have a better quality of life. And so there are benefits to counseling, and we all need to be a part of it. Oh, we got a counselor that has shared something over here. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Waited until the very end.
Overseer Justine Claxton, the counseling is available outside of your local assemblies. Marriage, singles, men, and youth seminars, workshops, and coaches are there to help. One must be open for help and seek it. We said that there are lots of resources. Many aspects of counseling is based on biblical principles. Wonderful counselor. Yes, ma'am. Amen. We agree with you, Overseer, so much. Yes, we've been talking about that from the beginning, that you can find help on the outside, but we're talking about our pastors willing to say, I can't handle this. You need to go seek outside help. Or are we willing to say, you know what, this is not me who should do this. Let me get somebody who is actually a counselor, where they have a certificate on their wall that says counselor or psychologist or psychiatrist or doctor, or whatever it may be, that they'll take it.
Overseer, maybe one of the things that we might think about doing, seeing that you're the overseer for diocese and I'm the diocesan, maybe we should pool our resources together and get a lay counselor and staff that can take that will help us with all the participating at churches.
That would be well overworked. Don't be a well overworked, underpaid person.
But at least it's a start, because since my assembly or your assembly individually cannot afford one, if we pool our resources together, we can all have a lay counselor that we can actually refer people to.
Yeah, you know what? What would be great would be to have, maybe like you said, pull in who is at each church who's a counselor, and then have that list of counselors, and then have a counseling staff where the pastors, if you don't think you can handle it, you can bring it to the district. That's a diocese thing. We can talk about that. James Howell says we have them at United at the headquarters. I guess he says Transformation Church. They have them. Yeah, Transformation Church is a good sized church. I'm sure that they do have a staff like that for them. And we hopefully that people use them. But I think the big deal that we have to, one, is people have to use them, be willing to use them, talk about their issues. And number two, I'm more so, pastors, please don't think that, you have to be the problem solver. You have to be the one to take on some of these issues. Some of these issues are too big for disciples, and as Jesus needs to take care of it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be prideful and worry about what people may think about you. If you cannot handle the situation, it is best that you give it to somebody who is well skilled to do it. Hey, you're not a doctor. You're not going to do open heart surgery. You're not going to do that for somebody. So, hey, don't have to do this either.
Overseer, in closing, I need to say to you that not too far away from you, you have a good friend by the name of Apostle Alan Patterson. He got a counseling staff, and not only that, he trains his staff. So, when you clear off a certain time on your calendar, please go over and enroll in his course so that so that you can become a professional counselor.
I can become one. I need to become a professional counselor. I use Apostle Allen a lot in my own personal counseling.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're so glad to have you to join us. I'm glad to be back. I trust that you had a wonderful time sharing with us on this edition of the Badman Show. Again, we truly appreciate you coming on. We thank God for Overseer. We also congratulate and celebrate our producing teams, and we just truly appreciate them. That's Albert and Sean Gore. And next week, join us back again next week. Maybe the boys will lose next week. We won't have that much.
No. Big game.
Take it away.
All right, everybody, love you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Click on those buttons. Help us out. Tell your friends. Tell your people. 7:15 every Monday, right here. Same time, same place. See you next week, right here.
Yes.
Us again. B to the A to the D to the M. So sing hallelujah, revive us again. B to the A to the D to the M. So sing hallelujah, revive us again.